Hey, what's good everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be talking about Zixx, one of my favorite childhood shows that I'll be pretty surprised if you've ever heard of. When I was a kid, I watched Zixx and I thought it was one of the coolest things I had ever seen, but when I went to the playground and would talk to my friends and ask them if they ever heard of the show, they've never seen it, they've never heard of it, nothing. And with no one to talk about it with, the memory of Zixx faded. It became one of those shows that you would remember years later and finally go and find a retrospective on YouTube about it and reminisce with all of the old fans in the comment sections. But Zixx doesn't have that. I went on YouTube, I scrolled for hours looking for something online and I couldn't find anything. And that's why I'm here right now. I refuse to let this show become lost media and just die off. If I have to be the one to make the retrospective years later, fine, let's do it. Let's talk about Zixx.
We are the great Hargok Empire. Our forces are growing, and soon all the galaxy will again tremble before us.
Why don't you just give it up, Dee?
Zixx!
I assume you're surrendering?
Foolish girl, you cannot win!
We're on a mission. The clock is ticking on it. Deep will stop at nothing. I need your help. We have to find the portal into the keep. The keep's like a game, right?
If you die in here, it's game over.
I'm good at the games where I can restart them when I die.
Defeating Deep is the first step. The fate of the galaxy depends on us.
Now, I'm going off of the assumption that the people watching this video either have never heard of Zixx or watched it over 2 decades ago. So we are going to start with a brief overview of the show. So Zixx released in 2004 and ran until 2009, created by a man named Jeffrey Hirschfield, the co-creator of an older, more acclaimed sci-fi series called Lex. Zixx is a show about 2 kids named Adam and Griff that meet an alien girl named Zixx Funky Z, played by Barbara Mamabolo. Fun fact, the creator of the show, Jeffrey Hirschfield, actually named the show Funky Z, but after getting the show greenlit by the Canadian child channel YTV, they changed the name to just Zixx. She is from a far-off planet and crash-landed on Earth with her alien lizard partner, Flango, also voiced by the creator of the show. Zixx's mission is to defeat another alien lurking on Earth named Deef.
Foolish girl, you cannot win!
He is a general that serves an evil being named Onkalan. We don't learn too much about Onkalan except for the fact that he used to rule the universe thousands of years ago until he lost a giant war and was turned into cosmic space goo. He still has followers years later that are trying to bring him back to life to be the universe's dictator once again. Zixx and Deef are both fighting for control of something called the Keep. Now, this is where all the magic happens. Zixx was a half live action show with the other half being CGI. They used a game software to create all of the scenes, and I hear that it was actually one of the first shows like it. The Keep is where this all went down. You see, the Keep was this virtual battleground that was filled with puzzles, trials, and aliens testing to see if you were worthy to pass on to the next room. Very conveniently, the portal into the Keep is inside of the school that Adam and Griff go to. And I'm not gonna lie, this school is an alien hub. Zixx is an alien classmate. Deef, the big bad of level 1, is the school's janitor. It's not really explained why the portal to this giant virtual realm is inside of a school, but when I first watched it, I thought it was pretty cool. Now, our main character at level 1, Adam, is connected to all of this because his mother was an archaeologist. She was studying crystals that may or may not have been connected to these aliens. Adam's mother went missing before the start of the show, and that's why he has the purpose of going into the Keep and trying to find answers. Well, the crystals she was researching actually were connected to the Keep, and the main crystal she found is the key to the very next level, and is also connected to her disappearance. This crystal that is the key has been scattered into pieces in the Keep, and that is the main plot for level 1. Get into Keep, defeat bad guys, get crystal, next episode. And that pretty much is Zixx. The storylines aren't too crazy. We gotta remember that this was a show for small children, and I treat it the same way that I would treat Beyblade. Which is kind of funny because while doing research for Zixx, I actually found out that a couple of the voice actors for Beyblade were in Zixx. Before I go into an in-depth view on the episodes, I wanted to go into how my view of Zixx changed as I watched more episodes as an adult. I still love the show and think it's something that should have an amazing fan base, but this show did have flaws. just like anything else. I know that people will hear how I talk about the show in some parts of the video and will believe that I think the opposite. I'm the type of person that is more critical of things that I really enjoy, and everything that I talk about in this video comes from a place of love. So enjoy. Now, here's where we get into the meat and potatoes of Zixx, where I will be going over a handful of episodes that I think will best show you everything that Zixx is about. And I will be going over all 3 levels of the show. And I'm saying levels because Zixx used the words levels instead of seasons. We're going to have to give a giant shout out to a YouTube channel called Z Entertainment 101 because I could not find this show. Zixx is not available on streaming, and I wasn't able to find a place that sold it on DVD. I found only the first episode on some hard to find website where I felt like I was on the dark web, and it was in 380p. So I have to deeply thank Z Entertainment for this, because not only did they put every single episode of Zixx on their channel, it's also in 4K resolution. So please show some love to them. Definitely the only other person that cares about this series as much as I do, if not more. Episode 6 is titled Anna, the name of Adam's mother, and we finally get more info on her disappearance through one of the show's side characters, Lou. He is a homeless man that was shown maybe to have been connected to Anna, but there was just one issue. Lou isn't there in the head that much, and something definitely happened to him. In earlier episodes, he was shown to have alien items and know certain information he shouldn't know. He is later revealed to actually have been partners with Anna, and he was probably with her the day she went missing. And this is why Adam feels the need to question him about what happened. In the previous episode, Lou was captured by Deef because he wants to know his secrets and also use him to sabotage Zixx. I really love this episode in particular because it truly shows how far the Hargox will go to get what they want. Well, for a kid show. But still, it honestly reminded me of Ben 10, the way that they had these old ass aliens going around mentally abusing these kids with powers. Zixx and gang find Lou, and Adam asks him about his mother. Lou seems to try and avoid the questions, but gets possessed by what may be the spirit of Adam's mother and gives him a secret code to something. Adam believes that she is his mom, but everyone else is telling him that he is being played. Adam goes to his room and plays every tape that his mother left him, trying to figure out some way that he could decipher this code from her when the power goes out. She appears on the screen telling him that they will be able to see each other again soon, and that all he has to do is take an item that holds the crystal to the next level and take it into the keep, and she will lead him to the crystal fragment locations. So yeah, this is obviously a trap that almost gets the entire gang killed. Deef pulls up and takes the crystal holder. This entire time, Deef had hacked the TV and power in Adam's house and impersonated his possibly dead mother, giving him a false hope that he'll be able to see her soon, when everyone in the show has been telling him that he just needs to get over it.
I wish you wouldn't. It's been 2 years, Adam. You gotta move on.
This isn't like some crazy thing that no villain has ever done, but come on. For a kid's show, he's a little treacherous. After taking the puzzle piece, Deef leaves the keep expecting Zixx and everyone to die in the trap. But Adam remembers the secret message from the beginning of the episode and how it is the key to solving the room, which would mean that Lou actually was possessed by Adam's mother and that she may actually be out there somewhere, creating more questions for the story, and definitely was a big reason to make me keep watching the show as a kid. The next episode that I want to go over is episode 9, titled Four's a Crowd. In this episode, we finally get to see character development for our other human main character, Griff. Now, he doesn't have some crazy past where he needs to find his missing mother, and he's not some space detective that crash landed on Earth, but he makes up for all of that with his mind. Now, it's not gonna seem like that at first, but trust me, he's literally a little mini Armin from Attack on Titan. So, episode 9 starts us off with Griff feeling like he's not a valuable team member, mostly because he sees the synergy between Zixx and Adam, and it gets to the point where he feels like he's basically a third wheel. Fourth wheel if you include Flango, which might have actually been worse. But while he's sulking, he bumps into this girl named Sarah, and after a convo, it looks like she was kind of feeling Griff, and he damn near is charmed by her immediately. They get to having some more conversations, and Griff ends up skipping out on trying to save the universe in the keep because he's too busy talking to her. But here's where it gets crazy. He's pillow talking. Griff believes that she is just a regular girl from school that couldn't possibly have any connection to the alien business at all, right? And she seems to be into everything that he is saying and wants to know all about this quote-unquote funny stories, right? And this is all just because she's really into him, right? Guess what, y'all? She's an alien. Not only an alien, but she is an alien who is from the same planet as Zixx. But her plan is not to help stop Deef, but to join him, who she says is the winning team. Sarah was playing Griff the entire time, trying to siphon information out of him. But don't worry, Griff didn't give too much information that would hurt the team. Right? Yeah, get ready for this one. Griff showed Sarah where the Zixx hideout is, where every single crystal they've been collecting this entire series is, and she took everything. So yes, Adam may have messed up in episode 6, but Griff has fumbled the entire bag. Episode 9 flows right into episode 10, where Griff must find some way to prove himself to the team, and he thinks he can do this by going into the keep by himself and getting the team the final crystal, since right now they have 0. The funny thing about these 2 episodes is that you would think that his friends would be upset with him, but that actually never happened, and that might be what made it worse for him. When he felt like a third wheel, it was all in his head. When he started trying to gain Sarah's trust by giving her alien items, no one blamed him for it. They knew that he was being blinded by the facade that she was showing, and even when he breaks the bad news to the team that he gave up the location to his hiding spot, they forgave him instantly, and that hurt him. Zixx and the team try to look for him, but cannot locate him inside of the keep. Adam has to hack his computer and see if they can find anything on where he went, and this is where they find out something interesting. Griff is a tech genius. In his computer are a bunch of mathematical equations and blueprints. After further examination, Griff had actually recreated a teleporter that was Zixx's broken alien tech, and he found out how to make it with Earth tech just from looking at it. They have to use his blueprint to create another teleporter to find Griff, and they use his creation to find the last crystal. Griff apologizes for moving on his own when they're a team, and they are finally back on track. But Griff isn't done yet. Enter episode 12, titled Revenge is Sweet. Now in this episode, Sarah is back, and she has come to the team begging for forgiveness. She says that she has changed her ways and wants to help Zixx stop Deef, and that she will do it by being a double agent. Deef thinks that she is his loyal servant and will believe the false information that she gives him. So no one believes this. No one except for Griff. He believes that everyone should trust her, and it starts kind of a rift between the team because it looks like Griff is fumbling all of the character development he has gotten so far after being given so many chances. After their disagreement, they choose to believe Griff and believe Sarah. They form arrangements to have Sarah be a double agent, and Sarah takes the team into the keep to Deef's weapon stash to show the team how trustworthy she is to the gang, and they're slowly easing up to her. But surprise not surprise, she is not being a double agent for Zixx, it's actually for Deef. You see, Deef is trying to do his big brain play where he is going to have Sarah get closer to the team and use an item that locates crystals to find the last piece that Deef needs to win level 1. I write such long sentences, what is wrong with me? To make it seem believable, she is supposed to act like she's just giving them an item to locate crystals, but she's actually using this to find the last crystal that they have and alert Deef right after. And it won't actually matter if she gives them the ring because Deef will already be on his way to collect the last piece. So that's exactly what happens. Sarah comes to the hideout to see if the ring lights up, and it does. So after, Adam and Griff take the ring from Sarah and leave, and Zixx stays at the hideout when Deef shows up, finally ready to find the last piece and ascend when Zixx least expects it. Except Zixx does expect this. You see, Deef shows up expecting Zixx and the crystal, but only Zixx is there. They all plan this. More importantly, Griff planned this. You see, Since the beginning of the episode, no one actually believed Sarah. Griff trying to convince the team to trust Sarah was all a part of his master plan to finally put the king in check. He double-crossed the double-cross. He manipulated her into doing these things, thinking she was doing it for Deef, when in reality, it was all for him. Deef realizes that the crystal is not here while also bringing all of his underlings with him. The things that make this crazier is that if all of Deef's underlings are in the hideout, who's guarding Deef's base? Yeah, buddy, that's right. Adam and Griff are at Deef's base looking for where every other crystal is, using the ring that Sarah gave them, thinking it would have no use. At the same time, this is a lose-lose situation for Deef, as he thinks at least he has Zixx cornered, but this was also a part of Griff's plan as well. When Zixx and team was being shown Deef's weapon stash as a ploy, Zixx actually took something that would be useful for this moment, a portal into the keep. Zixx uses this quick time portal when she is cornered at the same time that Adam and Griff find the crystals that complete the puzzle. So now Deef actually has nothing. And to end off this mastermind of an episode, when we get back to Adam and Griff preparing to leave with every crystal piece, Sarah finds them and tries one last time to fool Griff into making a wrong decision and tells him,
But I really do like you.
Griff hesitates for only a second before Adam gets in Griff's ear like, man, if you don't atomize her already? And that's exactly what happens. Griff lets his laser watch off, completely disintegrating her into goop, not killing her, but putting her into a tube to be taken back to her planet later. Wow. The more I get into explaining this, the more I'm starting to think that Griff has been the undergraded GOAT of level 1 this entire time. I don't want to stay on level 1 for too long, as I do have 2 other levels to have to talk about, so without further ado, let's get to episode 13, the endgame for Zixx level 1. The final episode of the season is about the team finally combining every piece of the crystal into one big key and plan to use it to finally get through the first level of the keep. A lot of the final episode includes a whole bunch of riddles and puzzles that the gang need to solve to figure out where to actually use the crystal. The only thing is that these riddles are not in a language that any of them understand. So they go to find answers in the tapes that Adam's mother left them. The tapes tell them about a stone that will help them translate, and thankfully, the person that has this stone is Lou. In this episode, Lou is finally snapping back into reality and locking in when he is needed most to give Adam the stone, and also encourages and warns the team about how dangerous this will be. They use the stone to solve the riddles and puzzles and finally get to the final secret room of the keep. Before they get to the door of the boss, Deef ambushes the team with all of his guards and overpower them. Deef takes the crystal away from them, finally getting the key, and opens the door. Deef makes one deadly mistake to gloat over his win while not looking at the door that just opened behind him, as he is grabbed by the boss monster. And he dies quite anticlimactically. The team recovers and goes into the boss room to fight, but they are getting beat pretty badly. That's when they remember one of the riddles for the room, and they remember that they need to battle with synergy that flows for them. Even though they're doing a lot better than before, they're still getting beat. And this is when, like, I guess the spirit of Adam's mother shows up like a guiding light, and she plays as a distraction for everyone to come together and beat the boss monster. For the end of the episode, Zixx, Flango, Adam, and Griff begin to walk to the gate to the next level. And you know, for a season finale, it was pretty good for a kid show. I personally thought that the way that they kind of off-screen Deef kind of sucked, and the battle monster didn't seem like that much of a bigger threat than what they had faced in previous episodes. But I have to remember that this is not a Breaking Bad. This is not supposed to be some crazy show in the first place. This is for kids. When level 1 ended, I was ready for level 2. We didn't have too much information on Zixx, and I wanted to see if they expanded on her lore at all. Griff seemed like a mad genius in the series. It was so funny watching this little kid use these big ass sentences and make these crazy mastermind plans at like a 10 years old. Adam was getting closer and closer to figuring out what exactly happened to his mother and trying to still find out where she is or what she has become. We even had characters like Lou, who obviously had crazy lore behind them with tons of questions and no answers. I mean, like, seriously, we have this character with tons of information but was so mentally broken by Onkelon, and we have no idea what even happened to him. And it should definitely have been expounded upon. And this all leads up to my main problem with the series that I can pretty much sum up with a couple sentences, starting with my explanation of level 2.
Level 2! And it looks like we got an inventory upgrade.
Bad news is, so did they. Get them, dudes.
What you're telling me is there's some kind of alien conspiracy to take over the world?
Not the world, the universe. And we're the team that has to stop them. Look out, it's a portal! We defeated Deef, but that was just the beginning. Onkelon is regenerating, and his troops are more dangerous than ever. The enemy is everywhere. Everything we faced so far has been basic training.
Time to get serious.
Bring it on!
So let's enter Zixx level 2. The show starts us off exactly where we left off, with everyone now inside of the portal, flowing out of level 1 and having no idea what's gonna happen next. After passing all the way through, we finally get to see Zixx and Flango land into level 2. Zixx and Flango. Only Zixx and Flango. You see, Adam and Griff didn't make it through the portal. And you may be thinking, oh, maybe they were separated and need to find each other. It'll be a great way to show off level 2 and do some world building. But no. Two of the main characters that had giant plot lines to the main story were written out. Every bit of character development that they did in level 1 was basically completely destroyed. The writers decided to make Zixx level 2 a reset, completely wiping out everything except for the fact that the keep was now level 2. Zixx was on a new side of Earth and finds a new group of kids to go into the keep with to fight the new villain. Everything just felt like we were starting at ground zero. And on top of all of this, they never even showed what happened to Adam and Griff. I don't think that I would have hated this shift into level 2 as much if they had actually acknowledged what was going on. The only thing they had to say about level 1 was,
Adam? Griff? They must be back on level 1.
I don't like this.
Neither do I. They could be in trouble.
It's us I'm worried about.
and I mean, I understand why they did the things that they did. I'd heard rumors of the actor for Adam having something come up in between level 1 and level 2, and that led to them just scrapping everything. And I mean, I can see that, but I'm sure that there's something deeper here. I think the creators of Zixx had seen Adam leaving as a good opportunity. They saw it as an opportunity to restart. I would be lying if I were to tell you that level 1 was perfect. There were plenty of flaws inside the show, and I think the creators saw this as well. When I first went online to search for any signs of anyone else knowing Zixx, I only found one thread. Someone was asking if anyone remembered the show on Reddit, and aside from others that were just like me remembering the show from their childhood, there was one comment that stuck out to me. Oh yeah, I remember Zixx. It was a reboot knockoff. And this is where things started to make sense for me. I had never heard of this show called Reboot. I'm a little young, but after doing some research, I found out that this show had become the blueprint for other shows just like Zixx. People who grew up watching Reboot love it, and will say that Zixx was good, but did not meet the same mark for them like Reboot did. And I think that the creators knew this after the first season, and took level 2 as a chance to correct things that sucked about level 1. And that was at the expense of a large chunk of the main story. They picked a couple new characters, the main one being like Adam but older and looking closer to Zixx's age, and 2 other kids to make up for Griff, bringing smarts and humor. They added in multiple villains that were more interesting than Deef in the long run. The real question here is, did all of this bring the effect that they were hoping for? And to me personally, Yes, I think that at first, after getting to level 2 and seeing half of our main team missing, I was upset. I had prejudged these new characters and expected the show to not be as good, and I was wrong. After putting my previous thoughts aside and taking the time to let things pick up, the show actually is better than level 1. For what it's worth, I missed the previous plot lines and I was upset personally that I wouldn't be able to find out what really happened to Adam's mom or if they ever reunite, but I slowly did come to love level 2. Level 2 had some great plot lines, and since there was so much time in between level 1 and level 2, that CGI got a lot better. Even though we had lost all of that character development from level 1, they picked things up quickly. The new main character Riley is like the other side of the coin with Adam. Riley has his reason to go into the keep because his father abandoned his family to join a cult that believed in aliens. He wants to find more answers while helping Zixx. They added more subplots that gave some more depth to the show, like Riley's classmate actually being a shapeshifter alien, and I think this is something that level 1 lacked. Besides the 2 episodes where Sarah showed up, the only alien we had was Deef. The town in level 2 was filled with them. Instead of having one villain for the season, we had multiple that got better after one was defeated. We start with Earl, who when I first saw him, I was actually pretty upset because he didn't light a candle to Deef, to be honest, and I thought that he wasn't menacing at all, but they actually made light work of him. They beat him pretty quick. After this is really where the story picks up, when we get introduced to the shapeshifter Marco and the alien general he serves, who I like to call evil Pink Panthers. I don't know why, that's just the vibe that I got from her when I first saw her. I don't know. We even do get an episode where Adam does come back. Sort of. You see, there's an episode where Zixx gets into a battle that she cannot win, and she's stuck somewhere no one can get to help her. This is when Adam shows up and saves the day as a ball of light. And at first, I really thought this was stupid, but I do appreciate that they at least didn't just completely forget about him. We finally get to know what happened to him after, and I guess he didn't make it through the portal. He got stuck in this trans-dimensional room where he was stuck and didn't make it through, but he's finding out a way to make it back home. Griff just went home. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. That's basically all that they said. That's all that they said, man. And in this trans-dimensional portal, I guess this is where he finds out that Onkelon is very much alive and getting stronger. And that's why he came here. He wanted to warn Zixx. This is where he basically passes the torch down to Riley to help Zixx since he can't come to help her himself. And it honestly felt like a great send-off for Adam. This was the point where I really felt like I could let go of level 1. You could see that the creator was definitely trying his best to make Zixx the best out of the circumstances that it faced. And I definitely can respect that. Rewatching Zixx as an adult and as an aspiring writer showed me something. There's more to these episodes, and that's love. Zixx has so much love put into it, from the writing to the acting, and I don't see this show as something that deserves to become lost media, because that's what it would be if we didn't have Z Entertainment 101. This video wouldn't exist. I wouldn't be able to find this show because it's not on any streaming service. This show deserves to be talked about and have a fan base. Despite it having flaws and production issues, there's so many shows out right now that just feel soulless when you look at them and just plain out suck. They're not creative, and it honestly just makes me appreciate shows like Zixx more. And I think that if any show deserves a reboot, it's Zixx. Or at least get this show put on streaming services so kids like me that watched it on Netflix will grow up and be able to appreciate the show just like I did. I apologize for going on such a long rant about this, and we can pick this back up at the end of the video. So let's get back to the main story before we enter level 3. So before we walk through this next gate, we need to talk about how we got here. In the last episode of level 2, the team has finally gotten to the final room before level 3, but must go find this character named Dwayne because earlier in the season, he absorbed the key and is now the only way to get through the gate. Dwayne has been captured by the bad guys in a final attempt to stop them from reaching the gate. Jada, aka Evil Pink Panthers, catches the team off guard, saying that Onkelon doesn't see the purpose of her anymore because she's been losing so much and she's been kicked off of the evil squad. Now, she's saying that she wants to help Zixx stop Onkelon and that she knows where Dwayne is and will take them to him. if she can join the team. Now, no one believes her, but they're a little desperate to get Dwayne back, so they're just like whatever and let her join. But this is pretty funny because Dwayne actually finds his way back on his own and rejoins the team right before they get to the final room. They end up having to go through this trial of what looks like alien chess against some AI and end up almost losing, but Jada ends up beating the boss herself and plans to betray the team and unlock the gate. To no one's surprise, she's been serving Ankalan the whole time, but just like in level 1, whoever goes through the door first has something crazy happen to them, and Jada is no exception. Jada gets stuck in level 2. The gang take the key and go through the gate and get to level 3. Now, you actually won't believe it, but when they come out of the gate, again, it's only Zixx and Flango. But thankfully, this time, they were really just separated. We can see that they got some jokes. The rest of the gang gets upgrades. This is when we finally get to see Ankalan. This whole time, he's been like this commanding voice that you just hear, and you weren't sure if he really had a body yet. In a secret area of the keep on level 3, we are shown that he is in this chamber filled with cosmic energy, regenerating his body, so this season really is starting to hype up the final battle. The main purpose of this season is to collect the pieces to this blade that defeated Ankalan before, and this time they want to use it to destroy him for good. Also, a new character was introduced that joined the team named Tarvax. He's an alien that is Zixx's best friend and was sent by the network to help Zixx defeat Ankalan. He's actually a nice addition to the team, and it doesn't feel like they're taking up too much space having him here. The keep is at its best because it's not confined to the corridor spaces, and the animations are a lot better than before. But even though I really like what they added, this doesn't mean that this season came without its issues. A lot of the episodes in level 3 felt like filler, when it really didn't have to be. Level 2 had plenty of plot lines that could have been brought back, but they decided not to for some reason. They don't even mention Riley's father anymore, even though it was kind of a big plot line to figure out what happened to him or at least get closure for Riley. There were side characters with subplots that could have made up for these lack of story episodes, but I think this was a production issue. Zixx had a rocky production and it took years in between seasons. Zixx aired on the channel YTV, a Canadian channel that's viewership is all little kids. These issues of having years in between your seasons on a kids channel is that your main audience grows up, which leads to a lower viewership and leads to a lower budget, which is what level 3 feels like. The final season is mostly filmed inside of a mall, which is probably due to low budget, but because of that, it kind of becomes repetitive. I think this is why they use the keep a lot more than before, which I don't think would have been an issue, but I feel like they could have expounded more on the area. Animation was at its peak, and the world was huge. Definitely a missed opportunity. Despite all of these issues, that still didn't stop me from enjoying the finale of Zixx. In the final episodes, Zixx and the team find every piece to the blade that will finally put a stop to Ankalan. This blade has a prophecy on it that must be fulfilled for the blade to work. One of the main things is that there must be a team of 6 people. And since they have 6 people, they immediately spin to Ankalan's hideout ready to end this. Spoiler alert, there are still 2 episodes left, so this obviously doesn't work. When they finally get to Ankalan's hideout and use the blade, it actually has the opposite effect. When they hit the chamber with the blade, it actually releases Ankalan from his chamber. They retreat and find out the issue is that to beat Ankalan, you need to hit him with the blade in his back. After finding out this information, they go back into the hideout, finally ready to kill Ankalan. And this is when we find out something crazy. Zixx is betrayed by Tarvax, her best friend. He's actually been working for Ankalan this entire time. He takes the blade from Zixx and switches teams. Zixx is upset because this entire time, Riley has been telling her that she shouldn't trust him as much. Even though Zixx feels like it's her fault that Tarvax betrayed the team, everyone forgives her, and so they need to focus on how to stop Ankalan. Especially since the blade tells them that now that Ankalan is free and almost ready to break out of the keep, the failsafe has been activated. And that failsafe is destroying the entire universe to stop Ankalan from taking control of it. So now the team is on a time clock and still cannot defeat Ankalan. Zixx believes that she needs to convince Tarvax to switch back to her team, because the prophecy said you need 6 people, and without him, they cannot do it. One final time, Zixx and the team pull up on Onkalon and now Tarvek to finish this, and now we are in the endgame. Onkalon is reaching full power and finally is ready to break free. Right before he can go through the portal out of the keep to the real world, Tarvek gives Zixx the real blade, and she jumps behind Onkalon and slashes him in his back, finally ending him. Zixx finally gets her communications back online after 3 seasons, and she's connected back to the network. They tell her that it's time for her and Flango's journey to end and finally come home. It's time for her to give her mission report. The team have a heartfelt goodbye, with Zixx telling everyone that this is not the end. They defeated a universal threat, and that her team will be needed for future missions. Even though it's the end of the story, they allude that they will one day reunite. The human team is sent back to Earth, and Zixx, Flango, and Tarvek go through a portal inside the keep, ready for what happens next as they reach the network. And that's where Zixx ends. Even though the story was over, part of me felt incomplete, and I think I know why. As I said earlier, there was so much love put into Zixx, and good writing put into the show, and after finishing it, all I felt like was I wanted to know more. Onkalon is dead, but I still want to know what happened to Riley's dad. I want to know about all of the secrets that were inside of this virtual realm of the keep. I want to know about this war that went on. I want to know about how terrible Onkalon was and why he had to be defeated. There's so much lore inside of this show that mostly created more questions than answers. And I feel like if the show didn't face the challenges that it did with production, that we would have been given these answers and it would feel more complete. This show from my childhood does not deserve to be lost media. I believe it deserves a remake. Even if it wasn't possible for Zixx to get a reboot, it does not deserve to be shelved, not picked up by any streaming service where it cannot gain any new fans and all the old fans have to go to YouTube to watch it. I believe that this show deserves to be rediscovered. I hope this video resonates with those who watched Zixx as kids, bringing back memories of the show that was a part of their childhood. At the same time, I hope that this video reaches people that have never seen the show before, bringing in a new audience for the series, even if it's small, inspiring them to look in and discover the unique world of Zixx. Even if nothing comes out of this video, I hope that the creator of Zixx, Jeffrey Hirschfield, knows that the show that he created 20 years ago is still being talked about years later by people like me. Now, if you guys made it this far in the video and enjoyed it, I would appreciate a like. And if you have any thoughts and feelings about the show, I would love to hear your input in the comment section down below. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out.